hope all is well. This has been a crazy Monday, but we are here, y'all. We are here. Get my glasses together, clean them off. I don't know why. I'm on Instagram as well. I don't know why I have issues with lives on Instagram. I don't know what the issue is, but it always has poor connection, even though all my other devices are working okay. So I don't know. But we'll see what happens. Welcome in as y'all come in. I appreciate y'all showing up on every week. And I'm excited to kind of talk through our topic today, which is embracing authenticity. Just a second here as I'm gonna restart the Instagram live. But as I'm getting things pulled up here, let me know where you're watching from in the comments if this is your first time, how you are today, because I genuinely want to know. And hope all is well today. If this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I'm a certified mindfulness coach. I talk about all things mental health on this channel. If you have listened to any of the meditations, I am the voice that you hear. But weekly we do a live to discuss a mental health topic that we have voted on in the polls every week. So this week we voted on embracing authenticity. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And then the runner-up was navigating moody days or something like that. So we'll do that next week. And then after that following week, I'll be out of town. So we won't have a live that week. And then we'll pick back up at the end of the month. But happy June, y'all. Happy June. We made it 6 months into the year. Didn't think was gonna make it, but we made it. Listen, we here. So I'm excited to talk about our topic tonight. Make sure to like the live, make sure to share the live, as well with anybody you think can benefit from the live. Hello, Mr. Sir, welcome in. And then we'll go ahead and get started with our topic tonight. As soon as I figure out my life on Instagram. Okay, we'll figure that out. Hey, Hiru, welcome in. Thank you for joining. We're talking about embracing authenticity today. I have 5 points that we can talk through as far as how to embrace authenticity. And then I have about, 7 affirmations that you can take away at the end of our live. So I hope that this is helpful today. I know that just the climate in general in life this year has been tough. And embracing authenticity, I think, is one of those things where we don't realize how much is actually impacting our lives, how much is impacting our mental health, how much it's impacting, our day-to-day. So I thought this would be a great topic to present because I think this will definitely get us in a state of awareness of how authentic we are showing up every day. Low Key D, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. I've tried to make sure that I have as many of those as possible for you guys because I know that y'all need it. And as a Black woman, I think it's important to empower Black men, and then vice versa. I think it's important for Black men to empower Black women. So I appreciate that. Awesome. All right. So embracing authenticity. How do we do that? Right? What am I even talking about, right? What is embracing authenticity? Let's start there. Embracing authenticity is taking the time to show up in spaces as your authentic self. Sometimes we're having some difficulties on Instagram. I'm sorry, y'all. If y'all can't hear me, or if it's in, I'll type it in the comments here. Go to Instagram. Go to YouTube, because my Instagram, y'all, I don't know what it's about, but it don't like when I go live for some reason. It just does not. Um, yeah, I'm on YouTube, guys. So switch over to YouTube. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's not working. Yeah, connection issues. Sorry, y'all. Oh, thank you, Low-Key D. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for the super chat. So embracing authenticity. Why is it important? Not going into spaces authentically is a setup for depression, for burnout, for exhaustion. Because if you are consistently showing up in spaces where you have to put on a mask or have to put on a disguise, which we will talk about in a little bit, it is exhausting. It drains you. It drains you mentally, physically, and emotionally. So this is why this is important, because a lot of times we may not even notice that we have these different masks and disguises that we wear. Sometimes those masks and disguises are as a form of survival, right? And sometimes those masks are taught, just as how we were raised. And then other times those masks are associated with our own traumas, as well as comparisons. So I'll talk about it all a little bit more in detail, but this is why this topic is important. This is why it's maybe something that we don't necessarily talk about all the time, but I think it's crucial to kind of really talk through it, because once you start actually digging into it, you'll realize how much you're actually showing up inauthentically or unauthentically. So that's why this is the topic. This is why I put it on there. And I think it's a great way to kind of, figure things out within your own might, within your own heart, within your own spirit. So 5 ways. So 5 ways, a 5-step way on how to embrace your authenticity. It starts with knowing who you are, right? That sounds like really cliche, probably, and it probably is something that you hear often. But I feel like a lot of times we don't know who we are, so we make up these masks because we don't understand or know who we are. So it starts with knowing you. I'm going to move this so that way I can pull up my notes here. I'm sorry, Instagram. I'm going to move this over. Okay, so when it comes to knowing who you are, you can't be you without knowing you, right? If you can't be yourself, a lot of times you don't even know the direction you're going. You don't know your goals, you don't know your passions, you don't know your values, you don't know your strengths, you don't know your limits. You don't know you don't know, about yourself, or you may have an idea of what you think you know, but you've never actually taken the time to sit down and say, who am I? Who am I, and who am I developing and growing into? Who am I now, and who do I want to be in 5 years from now? Where do I want to see myself? Those are a lot of times when we don't have those conversations within ourselves, within our hearts, and with God, of course, too. We don't have those conversations. We are just going through life meandering, and we're not we don't have any direction. And when we don't have direction, it gives you a space of just waves. You just kind of go with the flow, and today I'm this, and today I'm that, and today I love this, and today I hate that. And so that leaves space for us to show up in these masks and disguises that we create, versus us showing up as ourselves. So it starts with knowing yourself, knowing making sure to self-reflect on your values, your purpose, your passions, your strengths, your limitations, the areas of weaknesses, the area of growth. And then also too, knowing who you are spiritually, within your soul, within your emotions, within your mind, within your physical body, right? So if you're knowing your spirit is knowing how you connect with others and how you relate to others, right? Knowing your soul is your intellect, your mindset, your free will, your emotions, and how they interact with each other. Your physical body is just knowing what you need physically, knowing how you show up when it comes to what you're eating, what you're drinking, what like all of those different things as far as like how you show up in the physical form, right? And knowing all of that is how you can know who you are, right? Also knowing your trauma, right? Because your trauma sometimes masks itself as identity, right? So if you have a history of trauma, your identity of who you are now may be as a result as of that trauma versus it being you who you are authentically, right? So for example, just to kind of think about, if are you being assertive with people because I need to set a boundary, or am I being aggressive with people because I have unresolved hurt, right? Sometimes we may take that assertiveness and that aggression as this is who I am, this is me being authentic, but it could be masked as trauma, right? So thinking through all of those things and really reflecting and really taking the time to understand um, those areas of your life and how it impacts how you show up, but then also how it impacts what you determine as identity, okay? What you determine as who you are. Um, Also, sometimes we take on one aspect of our identity and that part is inflated to where that's all we know about ourselves, to the point where we know nothing else, right? Some people may inflate their sexuality, or they may inflate their race, or they may inflate their title that they have, or they may inflate their career, and that's all they know. And when people say, "Oh, well, who are you?" they automatically go to that, and then that's it. "Oh, I'm a mom," or "Oh, I'm a lawyer," or "Oh, I'm this, I'm that," and that's it. They don't have anything else. So, looking at yourself holistically and really thinking about, outside of my career, outside of my titles, outside of my roles, outside of my sexuality, outside of my race, outside of my spirituality and my religion, outside of all of that, who am I? Okay. So that's the question that you want to ask yourself. It's not a easy question to answer sometimes, especially if there's never a question that you've ever taken the time to think about. Um, but it's truly important to walk through that and be honest, right? Because a lot of times we lie to ourselves too. We lie to ourselves to the point where we have taken on those lies as identity. And this is the time for reflection, but it's also the time for honesty. Okay, so that was point number one. I know it was probably a tough point, but that was point number one. Know who you are, right? And then once you know who you are, it will help you to, or be easier to identify your disguises, okay? It will help you to identify the masks that you wear every day, right? Now, there are some, situations where you have to be a certain way, whether it could be your environment or your job or you're a mom or you're a dad or you're, a brother, your sister, you're a caregiver, whatever. You may have to show up in different ways in different spaces. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those pieces of yourself that you feel like you have to do in order to be accepted. Those are the masks. Those are the disguises, right? Um, Noticing them, identifying them. You can do that through many ways. You can do that through therapy. You can do that on your own through journaling. Any type of other support, whether you have support groups or just friend groups or whatever that you can rely on to walk through it and kind of notice it. But making sure to take that time to notice those things, pinpoint them, name them, right? What is it? What is it specifically? Because with awareness comes growth. And you can't grow without pinpointing exactly what's happening. Okay. And again, takes a high level of honesty and awareness, right? Noticing, okay, this is something that I do. How do I show up at work? You may have to go environment by environment, okay? How do I show up at work? Oh, sometimes at work I'm a little bit more reserved because of the simple fact that I don't know these folks. I don't know these folks that come in and do my job and then I go home. Okay, that's different than actually putting on a mask of people pleasing at work, where you're constantly trying to please the people that you're in the office with, based off of the fact of you wanting to be accepted, right? How do you show up at home, right? Thinking about how you show up with different people. Do you show up in this group of friends differently than you do with this group of friends, right? So thinking about how you're showing up in the different arenas that you're in, even with family. How do I show up with family? Now, granted, when you're going from environment to environment and people to people, it may look different just based off of boundaries and comfortability and things of that matter. Again, that's not what I'm talking about. It's more so of when I show up this way, why am I showing up that way? Okay. And if the why is I want them to like me or some form of acceptance, or I want to show up this way because I want them to think of me in this way, then that's where you want to pinpoint. That's what you want to write down. That's what you want to dig into. Okay. So that was point number 2. Identify your disguises and release them, right? Again, we talked about through journaling, therapy, prayer, meditation, support. All of those things are ways that you can identify your disguises. Point number 3, heal your shame surrounding the disguises. Heal your shame surrounding those disguises and release them, okay? Let them go, all right? It may be easier said than done, but let them go. It may be a process. It may not be something that's going to happen overnight, but progress is most important, right? Let them go. Again, some may be more difficult than others, and some may be attached to trauma. Some may have a level of healing first before you actually go through the process of releasing them. But letting go of the shame that's associated with it. When you identify these areas in your life that you've masked yourself or you've had some form of disguise, right? There may be a level of shame or guilt or frustration or anger that you may experience when you really pinpoint these things. And making sure to find ways to release them and process those emotions are also important to you. Okay. And not allowing that shame to overcome you in those moments. So that way you're able to really just focus on healing from that, right? I'm thinking of any other examples here. Let's see. I already talked about people pleasing, because and then a lot of times if that's just, that may be also very much attached to trauma, right? So people pleasing, you live your life feeling like you are not enough, so you work your hardest to please others to fill a void, right? A fear of rejection. So because we have a fear of rejection, we people please, right? We try to find ways to please the people that we are either working with or in relationship with, right? And understanding even in that space of people pleasing, it's okay if people don't like you. It's okay, right? It's okay if people don't like you. Stop chasing them, right? A lot of times with the people pleasing, we spend a lot of time chasing people that don't like us. And that's okay. People may not like me, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. They're just not my tribe, right? So ensuring that you are taking all of these pieces and understanding why you do those things will help you understand if it's a disguise that you need to release, right? Also, letting go of comparisons, the lies people have taught you about you, because you know how people be telling us about us, and your past self, dismissing your growth. Those are other areas too that kind of uh, attach to disguises, right? If you have a lot of comparisons, if you take the time to compare yourself to people, situations, environments, um, a lot of times that is where your disguise or your mask can be birthed, right? So thinking about ways that you compare yourself and releasing those. The lies people taught you about you, the what have people have ingrained in your mind that you are, that you disagree with, right? But you have unintentionally or subconsciously taking them on as identity. Thinking through that and really noticing those things. And then your past self. Sometimes people want to remind you of who you used to be, and since you're not there no more, you try to disconnect yourself from those things. But because people keep reminding you of who you used to be, it's a struggle. It's an internal conflict that you have of, well, I used to be this, but I'm not that no more. I don't want to be this, but I could be that. But and then you go back and forth, and it creates this common confusion and frustration. So then you create a disguise and a mask in certain arenas or areas because it just makes you feel better, or makes you feel like you have some sense of attachment to your past, even though you move past those things. Okay. So this is point number 3, y'all. Heal your shame, release the disguises. That's super important. And then point number 4, self-compassion. Embrace your whole self, even the flaws, even the things that you may not like about yourself right now. It's still a part of who you are right now, and that's okay. And that doesn't mean that growth won't happen. It doesn't mean change can't happen, but it's something that you have to be honest with who you are, and practice self-compassion in those moments. So take ownership of your past, even the messy parts, and embrace what has shaped you. Embrace what's created the growth. Embrace what's healed you, right? Embrace all of those areas. You are not necessarily responsible for what has happened to you in your past, but you are accountable for your healing. You are accountable for honesty. You are accountable of awareness. You are accountable for all of those things. So I know that we do try to say, well, this happened to me, this was done to me, so this is why I am the way that I am, and I don't have to change. That's not necessarily the case, right? You can go through your trauma and go through your background and come to a conclusion as to why you are the way that you are. But in that moment, you have to take accountability for your healing, not for what that has happened or been done to you, but for your own personal healing. Because even though it happened, it is made very traumatic and it's hard, and it's created so much havoc in your life. It doesn't mean that you can't grow. It doesn't mean you can't heal. It doesn't mean you can't get better. Right. And sometimes we rely on that trauma, and even glorify that trauma to a point where we allow that to continue our narrative moving forward, right? We've had this traumatic thing or traumatic things happen to us, and we allow that to dictate who we are now and how we continue. But just because you have had this trauma and you've had this past and you've had this time in your life or season in your life that was just really difficult, that doesn't dictate how your future will be. It doesn't even dictate your now, right? You can change your now. Okay. So understanding that we are embracing ourselves as who we are now in order for us to take accountability for our healing. Okay. And in that, again, practice self compassion. We are just having a human experience, and we're all sharing each other in this human experience. Okay. So have self compassion for yourself through the process. Um, and let me just make sure that I'm not missing anything there. No, I think I covered everything for 4. Yeah, so that was number 4, self-compassion and embrace your whole self, even the flaws. And lastly, number 5, show up as yourself no matter the audience. Show up as yourself no matter the audience, okay? It takes practice. A lot of times these disguises and masks that we wear are habits, right? It's just something that we've always done. And since it's something that we've always done, and now we're identifying it and we're knowing it and we're seeing it. Now it's time for change, and that may take some practice. And I know it may sound weird to say, like, oh, practice being your authentic self, but that's essentially what you're doing, right? When you know that you show up as a people pleaser at work, then what can you do to start to change that narrative? If you know that you show up as just very guarded in relationships, then what can you do to slowly start to evolve those things? That's something that you can journal. That's something that you can put a plan together. It could be very in depth. It could be very small steps. However you want to do that, but practicing it is important, especially when you're trying to change a habit, and especially if it's something that you've done since you were a kid, right? A lot of times we may have imposter syndrome, or this feeling like I'm a false person because of the fact that we have always had to wear a mask. We have always had to be something that we are not in order to survive. Code switching is one of those things, you know. You code switch. Now, granted, is there an element of code switching when it comes to being professional versus your personal self? Yes, right. There's still that element of it. But if we are doing it extensively to the point where we feel like we have to, that's the difference. Okay. Let me make sure I got all my notes, because I went on a tangent, y'all. My bad. Let me know in the comments if this is helping y'all. So yeah, I kind of talked through that. Now that you know who you are and the masks you have been wearing, be intentional about how you show up. There is a fine line between disguises and wisdom. I kind of talked through that, right? There is a fine line between disguises and wisdom, and an element of professional versus personal, setting boundaries with certain people and environments. But you know when you're in disguise. You know once you start noticing, and you're like, okay, these are the things that I do, and then you start to operate in life in your day-to-day, you're going to start to notice. You're going to be like, oh, I'm doing the people pleasing again. Oh, I'm super guarded right now. That's where that's coming from, right? And even when it comes to things like modesty or humility. So just thinking about all of these areas where those fine lines are, and ask yourself, does this behavior that I'm doing right now reflect who I am? Or is it a reaction to how I want to be perceived? Okay. Is this behavior a reflection of who I am? Or is it a reaction of how I want to be perceived? And if it's a reflection of who you are versus how you want to be perceived, that will help with figuring out if it passed that fine line or not. Okay. So that was the 5 points, y'all. I hope this was helpful. I hope this has brought some insight. And I'll go back to the top. Number 1 was know who you are. Number 2 was identify your disguises and release them. Number 3 is heal your shame, release the disguises. Number 4 was self-compassion and embrace your whole self, even the flaws. And then number 5 was show up as yourself, no matter the audience. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. I'm going to go into affirmations. I wish I had some water because my mouth is dry. Oh, hold on, y'all. My mouth is dry. All right. That was refreshing. Okay, so affirmations. You can use your affirmations however you wish to, okay? The affirmations, you can write them down in your journal. You can do Post-it notes. You can record them. You can do so many different things with affirmations. Also, feel free to change the language if you feel like it doesn't hold true to you. And then if you also want to only write down ones that hold true to you and the others you don't really like, that's okay too. So this is really just a blueprint, a framework for you to use. And I hope these are helpful in regards to embracing authenticity. The first one is, Oh, the first one is I show up as my authentic self unapologetically, no matter the audience. I show up as my authentic self unapologetically, no matter the audience. I show up as my authentic self unapologetically, no matter the audience. Okay? This is just a reminder that you don't have to apologize for being yourself. You don't have to apologize for being you, right? If people don't like it, that's okay. All right? People are not going to everybody's not going to like you. You're not going to be the cup of tea for everybody, right? And that's okay. So show up unapologetically, right? Show up in that way, okay? Now, granted, is there, again, going back to the traumas and the areas that with improvement and all of that, keep that in mind now when we talking about being authentic, because we can't be out here just being all willy-nilly, all right? But when it comes to just being yourself and showing up as who you are, for example, just even with me, with going to work with my hair curly for a long time, I would not do that, right? I would always straighten my hair, keep my hair straightened. Even when it came to interviews, I would never go on an interview with my hair curly. I would always straighten it for interviews. And at a certain point, I was just like, you know what? My hair grows this way from my scalp naturally. This is just who I am. This is who I am going to be. There's no altering and changing that. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to show up with my curls, and I'm going to just be who I am. Okay. Now, granted, there's nothing wrong with straightening my hair, right? If I straighten my hair just because I like it and that's what I want to do, that's one thing. But if I'm doing it because I want to present a certain way to an extent to where I am dismissing or downgrading who I am as a person and as a Black woman, then that's different. Okay. So y'all gonna get this curly ponytail. You're gonna get the gel and my edges laid. That's what you're gonna get. Okay. I may straighten it from time to time, but it's not a necessity. You know what I mean? So just keeping that in mind. Okay. So that was number 1. I show up as my authentic self unapologetically, no matter the audience. Number 2, I release the pressure to be something I'm not and return to the truth of who I am. I release the pressure to be something I'm not and return to the truth of who I am. I release the pressure to be something I'm not and return to the truth of who I am. A lot of times we are masking because there's the pressures, right? We have our daily pressure from day to day, and being able to decipher between true pressures and things that I should be concerned about versus those false pressures and things that I shouldn't be concerned about is important. Okay. So release the pressure of being something that you're not. If it's not you, it's not you. And that's okay. Okay. VVV, what's the time now? Not sure what you're asking. I mean, time, or was it a typo? That was number 2. Number 3, no more performance. Who I am authentically is enough. No more performance. Who I am authentically is enough. No more performance. Who I am authentically is enough. Let go of the performances. There's no need for it. Okay? And again, the performances is based off of the root cause. Why are you performing? Okay? Are you an actor and that's your job? That's different, right? Then versus you performing just on a day-to-day basis as a person. Okay? So who you are authentically is enough. Who you are currently, even if you're not perfect, is enough. Okay? So just understanding and holding true to that is what this affirmation is about. So that was number 3. Number 3, no more performance. Who I am authentically is enough. Number 4, my voice matters because it carries the breath of my God-given purpose. My voice matters because it carries the breath of my God-given purpose. My voice matters because it carries the breath of my God-given purpose. Understanding that your voice, a lot of times when we're masking, we are dismissing our voice. When we're in this disguise, we are suppressing who we are. We are suppressing our voice, okay? And one thing we have to understand is that our voice is attached to our purpose. And when we find our voice internally and then vocally, it can lead us, to that purpose that we have for our lives, or that's for our life. Okay? So my voice matters because it carries the breath of my God-given purpose. That was number 4. Number 5, I can hold space for both joy and struggle and honor my strengths and limits. I can hold space for both joy and my struggle and honor my strengths and limits. I can hold space for both joy and struggle and honor my strengths and limits, okay? It's okay to have both negative and positive. Both negative and positive can exist at the same time. Okay, you can have joy and struggle at the same time, and you can have strength and limits at the same time. It doesn't change your meter of enough. Okay, sometimes we weigh our worth and how whether we are enough. We weigh that based off of our strengths and our limits and our struggles and our joys, and we want to make sure, like, regardless of what that level is at any point in our life, it doesn't change that worth. Okay, so I can hold space for both joy and struggle and honor my strengths and limits. That's number 5. Number 6, authenticity is true rest, and I deserve to rest well. Authenticity is true rest, and I deserve to rest well. Authenticity is true rest, and I deserve to rest well. Understanding that the more that you embrace who you are, the more authentic you are day to day, the more it will relieve the burnout that you may be having, the exhaustion that you may be having, the mental confusion that you may be having, the depression that you may be experiencing. The more that you embrace that and take on that authenticity and release those disguises and those masks that you wear, the more that you do that, the more you will be able to be at rest within your heart, within your spirit, within your soul. Okay? A lot of times we are mentally exhausted because we are continuously tapping in our disguises. All right, it's your turn. We at work, it's your turn. Tap in. All right, we're going out with this group of friends. Tap in. All right, we're going home with the family. Tap in. Okay, we're going to this other group of friends. Tap in. Okay, now we're going to church. Tap in. Okay, we're spending our lives tapping in our disguises instead of just being who we are. Okay, I don't know about y'all, but I just I just killed that. I'm not even gonna front, but I'm just gonna say. Because it's so true. We tap ourselves in. You get to the door and you take that deep breath. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and just be who I am supposed to be in this space, instead of saying, no, all right, I'm going in. This is who I'm going in as I am. Yeah, there's adjustments I may have to make, but I'm not taking on and putting on no masks. Okay? Take the mask off. That was what number was that? That was number 6. Authenticity is true rest, and I deserve to rest well. That was number 6. Number 7, and this is the last one, y'all. Everyone will not understand me, and that's okay. Everyone will not understand me, and that's okay. Everyone will not understand me, and that is okay. I know I probably said that. I think I said that a few times throughout the live, but it's true, right? Some people are not going to get you, and that's okay. Some people are committed to not getting you. Some people are just haters, and that's okay. Allow them to be. Let them be. Let them be that. Let them not like you. Let them not understand you. Let them. Because the more that we try to feed into that, the more disguises and masks we create, to the point where now we are only our disguises and masks, and ourselves are not shining through at all. Let yourself shine through, okay? And the more that you become comfortable with just being who you are, regardless of the audience and regardless of where you are, again, rest will come. Okay? A rested heart, a rested mind, a rested spirit. Okay? So everyone will not understand you. Everybody don't understand me. Everybody doesn't necessarily like my channel or like what I talk about or like the meditations that I do. People don't understand me all the time, but I can't, that's their problem. It has nothing to do with me, right? Let them be who they're going to be, and let them misunderstand you, whether it's intentional or unintentional. Okay. So I hope this was helpful, y'all. Let me know in the comments how helpful it is. Again, I'll go back through the top for the affirmations. I show up as my authentic self unapologetically, no matter the audience. Number 2, I release the pressure to be something I'm not and return to the truth of who I am. Number 3, no more performance. Who I am authentically is enough. Number 4, my voice matters because it carries the breath of my God-given purpose. Number 5, I can hold space for both joy and struggle and honor my strengths and limits. Number 6, authenticity is true rest and I deserve to rest well. Number 7, everyone will not understand me and that's okay. I hope this is a blessing, y'all. I really hope that this has brought and shed some light. If you haven't already, make sure you're welcome, Hiru. If you haven't already, make sure to sign up for the newsletter. It goes out every Wednesday. Go to haveninspired.com. Make sure to sign up for the newsletter. I send out a mindfulness newsletter every week. And check out the new meditations for the week. I have a few that I'm going to post, probably 2. So look out for those. And look out for the live for next week. We'll be talking about what's next week. Navigating Moody Days is next week. So check out the live for next week. And I'm going to be headed over to TikTok in just a few minutes. So y'all all have a great rest of your night and evening. And I will see you soon. Bye.